Hey everybody, welcome back to my channel. This is Rob here at Smirking Gun, and I this is a I just found out, as many of us did just a couple of hours ago, I guess. Started to find out about the passing of actor Andre Braugher, and you know, I was prepared to be like, oh, this one really hurts, everybody. This one really hurts, but they all hurt. Somebody's cared about by somebody, right? Um, and a lot of times, people, just get forgotten, and people assume they're dead. I mean, the jokes on the internet aside about how like people like to fake, claim people are dead that aren't, just to be funny. Ha ha ha! It's real funny. Um, Sometimes it just pops up. Somebody pops up, and you go, "Oh my god!" Like, and it's terrible to say it, but like we forget that they were there. Like a lot of things just fade into obscurity. We all do. Like we're always, a lot of us are just trying to stay like waving our hands in the air. Look at me! Look at me! Always trying to make sure nobody forgets us or whatever, to the detriment, or to not necessarily the detriment to others. But besides, after saying all that about how, yeah, this one does hurt though. It hurts me anyway. That's why I'm making this, because it's been a bad year. I mean, for me at least, in this kind of rep, we should be, feeling for everybody that's passing away, and conflicts across the world, things like that. Every all the ways that people lose their lives every day, that don't get mentioned, that slip through the cracks. Most of us, the majority, slip through the cracks. You're lucky to, get a blurb in an obituary, or, like a decent wake or funeral. And, if you're lucky, you have plenty of friends and family and people who know you that have plenty of good things to say, and show up, and, remember you and honor you. And, eventually, it's just, we just go, like, that's it. Once those people are gone, the stories of who we are get slower and slower. Like, it's quickly to diminishing returns on people remembering any one person, because everybody's got their own lives and their own families. And then the further away you get from that closeness of that family, the harder it is to remember anything. I don't really remember much about a set of my great grandparents, and I don't know anything about the ones before them. you know um but we put a lot into these celebrity deaths, I think, because at least we know that for a while, at least a while longer than us, they'll be mentioned, they'll be remembered in this. I don't know. It's also a place for us to look at our own mortality. But for me personally, losing Paul Rubens this year was like the quickness of it, the all out of nowhere of it. I don't want to make this into a Paul Rubens thing, but um, it was like the Chadwick Boseman thing all over again, where somebody really, really talented that was, just amazing, just suddenly dies, and hardly anybody knew that this person was sick. And the same thing happened with Paul. And I keep meaning to talk about that one. There has to be a Paul Rubens video on my channel soon. I got to do it. Got to make myself. But as soon as it doesn't hurt so much, still, when I'm ready to like get a little whatever, I'll do that. um, but Andre is a special one too. Andre is one of those guys because I'm a big character actor lover. I'm a big appreciator of the people that get the main star where they need to go. Without the characters around the main people, that character's not interesting. It's hard to make them interesting. You can make them interesting. I shouldn't say that it's not possible, but I think it's more fun. to have people to play off of, to make, to see how that person, like navigates their world by who is populated in it. And Andre's one of those guys who populated whatever he was in really well and really entertaining and really just, again, he's one of those guys with a certain cadence. And it didn't hurt none either. And to lose him at 60 fucking 1, that is only, okay, look, he isn't even that much older than me, really. He was 13 when I was born, okay? So, I mean, that means, like, even when I was, like, watching him for the first time, and we're going to be talking about his films and stuff, like when he was in Glory, right? 1989. That means that, like, he was, like, 27. He was only 27 when that movie came out. Maybe even 26. And while they were filming it, maybe 25. But it's just another one that just comes out of nowhere that hurts real bad. And we are down someone who still had so much more to do, so much more to say. If it wasn't for him, I probably wouldn't have watched Brooklyn Nine-Nine. For real. Because I think Andy Samberg's okay, but I don't think he's worth sticking around for all those seasons with just him. I'm just not that way. If he hadn't been like a big, like, the foil, the straight man almost, I would say, and well, his character evolved, he became more involved. But anyway, like, if it wasn't for him bringing that way about him, like, it just worked. So this is just my moment here to briefly talk about his career and appreciate it, because I appreciate the characters. And I'm he to go back, like, yeah, he was in a bunch of Kojaks, and I'm sure that I would love to, like, find something online of him talking about the Kojak days. But his first major thing was Glory, where he played Corporal Thomas Searles, sorry. And what I remember about that role was just how different it was. Because we saw, like, his role was basically the contrast to Denzel Washington's character. Two guys who, one was never, like, two different backgrounds, but the same race, and the way that they conflict. Denzel mostly going after him because he was lucky enough to be, in the position that he was in. And it wasn't even that great. Like, he wasn't like free. He was like, free slave. Like, there were still limits, but to comparatively to what Denzel Washington was going through, it was leagues, it was oceans of distance. And that resentment, parceled by how Andre played that character, to not just, like, and it was complex, and he had like, things got to him by the, like, they had all changed. They changed each other in that. And you need that kind of contrast and conflict, and a character who, and an actor who can do that. Because, yeah, he's like a bit of the, like, as far as the African American experience goes, his was rarer than most, I would say, at the time. So it's like, it was a character that people hadn't really seen. How it's like, I bet you there are people that were watching that movie even back then in 1989 that was like, what's that black feller doing hanging out with the white folks? I bet there were a ton of people that, even, like, it was over 100 years, like, but the Civil War shouldn't have been that easily forgotten, that people would forget that there were African Americans that had those kinds of, I don't want to call them rights, but it reminds me of how people would, like, knew, like, the gay people were around, and they were like, we'll just not talk about it. Well, they're there, and we'll nod our heads, but as long as they don't do what they do in front of us, we're fine. There was, like, there was an era for that. And kind of like here, this guy was able to walk amongst them, but like he still wasn't one of them. He was more like a look at this, like an accessory. Like look what we did, like a project. Like look how we educated this man and rose him up from like the jungle. I would, you know what I mean? And again, how he played it. Where at first, he's so in from that world, right? He doesn't know the hard world. Like he's probably heard it. He's probably had people come up to him and see it, but he didn't have it. So like his naivete when it's slapping him in the face, when the reality of the rest of the world is slapping this guy in the face, and how he reacts and changes to it, and eventually dies, you know, right there with Denzel. Basically, like they all go down, right? No, I think that's Broderick and Denzel, but like they all go down there. You know what I mean? And it's all together. And it's all the more meaningful because of the change that we saw all these people go through together and to die for something together, not apart. So that's my feelings on him and that. I'm not going to cover everything. I like the title of this one. Somebody Has to Shoot the Picture. The Court Martial of Jackie Robinson. He played Jackie Robinson in 1990. I need to look that one up. That's a TV movie, probably on YouTube. Striking Distance, played the district attorney. It's a forgotten Bruce Willis movie. The Tuskegee Airmen, not surprised. I think that was an HBO original movie. I think Lawrence Fishburne was in that. I mean, that one, like, he was part of an ensemble in that one. Law and Order. So he first showed up on Law and Order. Oh no, that's a 96. So he did like a crossover, but he was also in Primal Fear, which is a good one. Like that's where Edward Norton got his like big notice. So it's not bad to be in the movie, like where other people are making it up. Then you got he plays like an angel in City of Angels. The only thing I still really care about that is how Meg Ryan died by getting like spoilers. If you haven't seen City of Angels, cover your ears and scream for about 10 seconds. But like that's the only thing I remember is how she's like riding her fucking bike, and you see the semi and you know that she was just like obliterated by a semi. Right? I want that. I'm sorry to put that image in your head, but just think of Meg Ryan's like totally serene, smiling face on a bicycle, and then just imagine like out of nowhere it just gets snapped. Like at least her character died fast. But what we have to get to right away is Homicide: Life on the Street. This is the big thing, right? His performance as Detective Frank Pembleton changed it. His performance as this guy changed the way he gave us a new kind of cop. He gave us a new kind of detective. And it was like, he was also kind of like, he reminded me of like Sherlock Holmes. I loved his attitude. It was a very, 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 very special show. It is one of the best shows ever made. His performance wasn't just a new kind of cop. It wasn't just we got a new thing. It was that show was a new thing. That show was a whole unique, like probably the best cop show ever made, in my opinion. And that includes ones that are really great, and I'm not discounting them. But Homicide was like that boots on the ground, street level. You really felt like you were kind of there. It was some of it was the mundane and stuff. Other shows they soap opera it all up so much. But his performance on that show was just unbelievable. And again, an ensemble, and it works better with everybody together. So him being able to play off, like, again, like starting like his big break being this, and then kind of going out with Brooklyn Nine-Nine, using that same kind of thing all the way full circle, but being more comedy, but bringing heart to that character, like mixing that up. Plenty of stuff that's like small, and like there was a Homicide movie in 2000. Then there's Frequency. Which, look, man, that movie, look, time travel, baby. You know, you're either in or you're out. Um, Jackie Chan Adventures, The Practice. Wow, Gideon's Crossing. You know, okay, yeah, that's a forgotten one. I completely forgot about Gideon's Crossing. Didn't last long. That's why. Oh man, it should have. But you know, it's one of those things. Like you want to go out, you want to try new things, and sometimes it doesn't work. And I also like speaking of like the doctor thing. I remember he was on Hack, which that's a pretty decent show. It didn't last long either, but that is pretty good. Salem's Lot. He's he's really good in that. Poseidon. Okay, the next one that I really want to mention. See, I'm picking and choosing. I'm cherry picking. But The Mist. I have to talk about The Mist because he's not in it for a really long time, but I've always really liked him and everything. And he finally gave me a character that I just was like, "Oh boy, I don't like this guy." But I loved his performance. Like it's a testament to the people that we like can suddenly make us hate them. Like it's not natural for us to hate their perform, you know, like their characters. And it's just a simple thing that he's just a guy. There's nothing special, you know, about like he's not like when I say that I don't like him, he's just he's not playing a character. He's playing like I don't see the actor. I only see the person he's playing. And he's the kind of person that I personally would have despised. And he's doing it so well. And when he bites it in that movie, again, spoilers, like just about everybody dies in The Mist, folks. So just, well, it's a good movie. Watch it. Frank Darabont. Frank Darabont, where the hell have you been, man? Um. Anyway, when he goes, it's right for the character. It and it's one of the like big early impacts where this guy who's like reasonably, you know, he's reasonable sounding. Do you know what I'm saying? But he's got this major chip on his shoulder that he just, if he could have been better at fighting that, he might have lived. But he couldn't. He just had this like way of looking at this other guy played by Thomas Jane, and it got him killed. But it's like people get killed in horror movies for being whatever all the time. But it was how everybody felt grounded. And he brought that level of groundedness that the character really needed. He felt like someone you know. And that's what made the performance really stand out. So when he dies, you don't feel like you're watching Andre Braugher get killed. You're watching this character and this like kind of, I don't know. It's just really powerful, and it's such a really memorable and under fucking rated movie. And I know that that's a cliche to say about just about every movie, but it really is. The Mist is like to me like a horror masterpiece. Honestly, it's the Shawshank Redemption of horror movies, and because of course it's only could have been done by Frank Darabont who did that. Anyway, he was in, you know, Fantastic Four, Rise of the Silver Surfer, Forgettable, you know, like unfortunately, movies like Salt, Superman, Batman. He did the voice of Darkseid in that, and that one was pretty good because I had gotten so used to a guy from Starship Troopers. I think it was that guy who did the voice of Darkseid a lot, Michael Ironside. But I liked it. I liked his Darkseid a lot. They tried to get him going with Men of a Certain Age. That didn't take off, but I liked him in it. Then he's on House, where he plays, you know, Dr. Daryl Nolan. And as a guy who would, again, this is a great person to play off of. Hugh Laurie and Andre Braugher, you know, kind of sparring for 4 episodes, in key episodes for that character. And you can call it stunt casting, but sometimes it's needed, and sometimes you need to find the right actor, and that's what they did. They found the right actor, and I really liked it. Last Resort, 13 episodes. Law and Order Special Victims Unit, 6 episodes. BoJack Horseman, 4. And then we get to like he was on The Good Fight. He did The American Experience. He narrated that. But the last thing is Brooklyn Nine-Nine. I mean, he's got a couple of things coming out, and I don't really know how they're going to work it because one's in production, but he's in a Scoob holiday haunt. But I'm going to choose to remember Brooklyn Nine-Nine as Raymond Holt for 153 episodes. The guy just he finally brought the funny. They gave him like he's been unintentionally funny, but now they actually wrote for him. You know, he gets to write it and then perform it. And he's got such great timing, such incredible timing. And he brought this silly show because it is silly. It's a good kind of silly, but he grounds that too. He keeps us in some kind of reality, but also is able to pull the rug out from under us in that performance. And he did it with such a straight face. And it just shows like how this guy could do anything. And it just really sucks. It just really, really sucks. And I just wanted to make this to just give my shout out to this guy. And Andre Braugher, one of a kind. You will be missed by all of us out here that remember the characters. And I will see you all next time.